Claudia Ramirez, empowering you to become the optimal leader of your life. Let's turn on the Mindset Mic. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to episode 33 of Mindset Mic, where we're going to do, for a very first time, a mindset Q&A. I ran a question sticker on my Instagram stories, and you've sent me your questions. I've gathered a few of them, and now I want to answer them. Now, just full transparency, I wrote them down. I didn't want to think about them because I want to answer now in real time. Like if you were a coaching client or if you were just a friend, asking me this question, this is probably what I would tell you. I thought it would be a fun way for us to get dynamic, for us to engage in and out of the podcast, and also get very clear on what it is that you are perhaps struggling with, dealing with, what you would like to improve on. What are those specific areas in your life that you would like to talk to me about? And I think it's a great opportunity. And then other people can learn from this as well. So we're going to get started. I have 11 questions here, and we're going to start off with, obviously, number one. It says, "Hi, Claudia. I'm struggling to stay motivated at work. How can I maintain a positive mindset when facing challenges?" Well, if you are struggling to stay motivated at work, I can tell you, I understand. And you know this because, as you know, I quit my job before, and this was one of the reasons why I decided to pursue my own passion. I think it's very important to separate the two worlds that you're in, your personal world and your professional world. And a lot of times, especially in the US or in the hustle culture or in the moving up the corporate ladder culture, it's very easy for us to feel guilt around not working all the time and not being present all the time, or not answering an email at 9 p.m. at night, or having to be available all the time. And whenever we're not, we feel like we could get in trouble. We're not deserving of something. We're going to, just not be as far off as someone else. And so I think it's also very important for us to get clear on what is it about your job that you like? What is it that you do not like? We're going to control what we can control, and what we cannot control, we're going to shift our mindset to make the best out of it. So for instance, if you are having a difficult time feeling motivated because you just don't want to be in that career, then think about, how is this career going to help me in my future steps when I decide to go somewhere else, assuming that's one thing that you would be willing to do. Don't quit your job because of me. That is not what I'm telling you to do. But it's also a way for you to look at the bright side. I remember whenever I was a teacher and I had decided that I was going to quit my job, but yet I was still dealing with things that I didn't want to have to deal with, that, sometimes poor leadership, or not being able to do what I wanted in the classroom and teach the way that I wanted sometimes, or, just little things like that. You are just kind of like, your hands are tied in some situations. I don't like to think of it that way, but in some situations I get that. And that makes you lose motivation. So it's very important to think about, what is it bringing me? How can I be the best that I can be? How can my positive energy, my positive thoughts, my positive words and actions help the situation? And how would me not being positive and being anything less than that hinder the situation? Because sometimes we realize that when we have more power than we actually thought, things get better. And that's one thing that I experienced. I realized I have more power in the workplace than I think. And once I stood in that and I embodied that, I was able to make those shifts and those changes in and out of the workplace. So that's what I would say. Just get clear on, how is this work going to help you? How is it preparing you? How is it helping your CV? How is it helping your life, your income, your day-to-day, your social wellness, interacting with others? Are you expanding your knowledge? Are you meeting people who you can learn from, leverage their, not ideas, but knowledge, networking, all these things? And then look at the positive side of that. And it's going to put you in a better mindset. And that which you cannot control, you show up the best that you can. You step away as soon as you need to. And let's see if that gives you better results. Question number 2 is, I've been dealing with self-doubt lately. Any tips on boosting confidence and overcoming insecurities? Yes, absolutely. Self-doubt is one of those things that will keep us anchored down. It will keep us I always like to say it like you're looking out this window and it's just this beautiful window and you have a gorgeous view, whether you're in a skyscraper or a really nice penthouse or a beautiful building, or there's just the woods outside and you want to go out there and you want to explore, but you're kind of holding yourself, to the table in the living room or in the kitchen, and you won't break through that glass wall that you see. And that is the self-doubt. That is something that it's telling you, look at how nice it's out there for everybody else, but not you. And so for me, to feel confident, number one is you make a decision. And I've said this before and I'll say it again. You aren't born with anything other than abundance and confidence and just overall in the gift of manifestation. And if you think about it, as we grow and as we are children and adolescents and adults, we have experiences that make us feel less confident. Perhaps it's been bullying. Perhaps it's been that you watch movies and you think that other people are better than you, and it's already in our subconscious mind. I know that millennials deal with that a lot because of those like rom-com 2000s movies. I know that a lot of times it's those life experiences, the downs that keep us down because we haven't built our resilience and our mindset, growth mindset. And so it's going to be very important for you to step out of your comfort zone and put yourself in those uncomfortable situations that are going to eventually help you get your confidence. Detach yourself from the outcome. Who cares if it happens or if it doesn't? Put yourself out there and you're going to see how sooner than later is what I'm trying to say. It's going to become more and more natural where just doing something scary or intimidating will be just so normal for you. And you're not going to give it so much thought. It's not going to hold you back so much. And also for overcoming insecurities, I always like to write down what is it that makes me adequate and apt and worthy of such thing that I would like in my life. So for instance, if for you, it's a relationship, what is it about you? What do you bring to the table? And we're not just talking looks. We're talking the way that you think, the way that you treat others, from assets, human capital being those skills and the qualities and the characteristics that people cannot take away. It's like, it doesn't matter if you get fired from a job, your human capital comes with you everywhere you go. It doesn't matter if you're single, your human capital comes with you everywhere you go. And so once you realize this is a lot of who I am, this makes me me, it makes me so special, then those insecurities kind of start shaving off because now you're more focused on what you are instead of what you're not, which increases your confidence once again and also helps you release and decrease self-doubt, I would say. Number 3, it says, hi, Claudia, balancing work and personal life is getting tough. How do you manage stress and find harmony between the two? Like number 1, you want to create that separation. You want to make sure that this is my work life and this is what I do at work and when I work, and this is when I do my personal life. And a lot of times our problem is that when people ask you like, oh, so like, tell me about yourself. And we all of a sudden say, oh, well, I'm a mindset coach and a speaker and a curriculum developer. And it's like, no, I love running. I'm super outdoorsy. I love being out in nature. I love socializing with people, making new friends. I love healthy conversations. I'm actually also a mindset coach and a speaker, a curriculum developer. I help companies develop curricula for their team. I help this and that. Great. But first, I am like this awesome human, right? That makes me me. And so think about what that is for you. And if you don't have a life outside of work, it's time for us to start building that. It's one of the things that I talk about with my clients and in my course Run With It, Your 60-Day Mindset Roadmap, when we create goal setting, when we start talking about visualization, when we start talking about habits with a customizable calendar that I created. We talk about different areas. We talk about family and fun and finances and different like traveling and different pillars, if you want to call them, that are going to help you be more than you can be, and not more than you can be, more than you are doing now, and make you feel well-rounded. When in doubt, if you're thinking, well, I don't have access to this information, Claudia, when in doubt, think of the 5 areas of wellness. Think of how can you stimulate your physical well-being, your emotional well-being, your social well-being, your intellectual well-being, and your spiritual well-being. How can you invest in this? What can you do? And that is when you're going to be able to start creating that separation, when you're going to be excited to leave work and to go do those things that fuel you and that nourish you and that make you feel so good, and you're going to leave work at work. Do not be afraid to leave work at work, because it's that one email that you answer and that one conversation that you have outside of work that kind of just opens, and it's like a where water just sips through, just coming through. And I'm trying to think about you know what is that word called whenever you have that water dripping, anyways, the ceiling, things are water. Wow, I can't speak today. Okay, so anyways, I hope that helps you create that separation and balancing of the work and personal life. And also, last thing about that, remember that balancing is not really real. I always talk about a rhythm. You give, you take. Sometimes one thing is more than another, and it just depends on what is the main priority right now. Sometimes it's going to be yourself, your family, your work, your fitness, your finances, your different areas of your life. So it's okay if you don't feel fully balanced, but make sure that it's not looking fully wonky. It's like a seesaw, right? It goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. All right. And so question number 4, I'm in a bit of a rut. How can I reignite my passion for my goals and stay focused on my aspirations? My question to you is, are you super clear on your goals? And if the answer is no, get super duper clear on your goals. I'm not talking 3 goals. I'm talking go to many goals, and think about multiple areas of your life. Think about the 5 areas of wellness. Think about different travels that you want to do, your career, your family, your relationships, your lifestyle, and everything in between. Get creative with this. Do not be afraid. Once your mind starts telling you that's too much for you, no, go there. Dig deep. And that would be a great way. Also, get super clear on what fuels you. A lot of times we have these very superficial goals, like I want to lose weight and I want to make a lot of money and I want to have a really nice home and travel places. And it's like, do you? Or is that just what seems really nice? And it's very important to get very aligned with yourself and get very clear on what your life purpose is, on what your ideal lifestyle is, on what your dream life would be. And whenever you do this, then you're more likely to follow through on your goals and feel excited. I always talk about, and oh man, I wish I had it handy. On my vision board, I have this vegetable garden that I want to have. And at the time, I created it, and then soon after that, I was moving to Dubai, looking for an apartment in the Dubai Marina where I would not be anywhere near having a garden because I wanted to live in a high rise. And so what happened is that there was some confusion. I wasn't excited about it. It's not like it was holding me back, right? Like anchoring me down. But at the same time, it wasn't exciting. So what's happening now, that specific goal, that specific photo is in the drawer, and it's not going to be out on my vision board and really present in my current goals until I am ready to settle down in a home. Right now, we're thinking about other things. Number 5, hey, Claudia, I'm having trouble building meaningful connections. Any advice on improving relationships and fostering genuine connection? Okay. All right. You have to have your best connection with yourself. You have to know yourself left and right. What you love, what you don't love, what you want more of, what you crave. You have to know yourself physically, intellectually. You have to just really be comfortable with being alone. And one thing that it's like a pet peeve of mine, it's not like it like makes me go crazy, but when people say, oh, my other half, I'm looking for my other half. And I'm like, why another half? Get a whole. Be a whole. Come together and you have this like 8 and it looks like an infinity, but it's 2 holes. If you have a half, they leave, you're incomplete. That's not cool. I don't want to be incomplete. And I'll tell you what, in my relationship, when I noticed that Josh didn't need me, he chose to be with me, that made it stronger. And the same way around, like, it just, there's something so powerful and sexy and attractive about somebody who has it together, somebody who's like this whole person, and they don't need anything, but they choose to be in this relationship. And so be that person. Don't force things. Find yourself first, and then be super clear on what it is that you seek. And at the beginning, a lot of times when we're dating, and oh man, I love talking about dating, and I don't think I talk about it enough because I'm not like a relationship coach, but I could seriously just have many, many conversations about this. At the beginning, we want to shape and mold ourselves to what the other person is like. And it's just so important to stay true to yourself and who you are and your values. And yeah, okay, like you experiment with certain things, you compromise here and there, but at the same time, you stay true to your nature. And also be genuinely interested in someone else, as well as be super, super, super honest with somebody else. Because the moment that you're not, then they start believing that version of that. And like, same with them, you'll start believing that version. And so, yeah, that genuine connection comes from authenticity, and don't be afraid of saying it up front. I remember it with Josh at the beginning. He was like, hey, can we move over to, I don't know if it was WhatsApp or in like phone number, WhatsApp or Instagram. We were on a dating app, and I was like, actually, there's 3 things that I like I focus on, and I still don't know if you cover them all. And I told him, I said, physical, intellectual, and spiritual. I need to know that you're working on yourself in every single way. And I went like deep. I wrote paragraphs on each. It was like a little essay. And he was like, all right, let's move on because I'm doing this. And I was like, okay, cool. But don't be afraid whenever you really, really like someone. We just don't want to say something because we're like, oh, what if we mess it up? Mess it up. Because with the right person, you won't be messing it up. And I'd rather you try and build that genuine connection than just have a false relationship, or you essentially settling, or them settling, or like not settling as in you're more or less, but in the sense of just it not working out in the end, or not being fully happy because we pretended to be someone who we weren't at the beginning. I hope that helps. We can really talk about this. And if you want a relationship episode, let me know and I'm happy to. Okay, number 6. Hey, Claudia, I'm a D1 college athlete. Whoop, whoop. I struggle with performance anxiety. I feel you. How can I maintain a strong mindset during competitions? I used to tell my coach, yeah, coach, I could like train every day, not compete a single day in my life, and I'd be very, very happy. And I think that if I could go back, the one thing that I would change would be that performance anxiety. I was like really, really focused or completely psyched out, not being able to eat before, just wanting to throw up everywhere. Just sorry for the TMI, but it's true. And I think that, visualization is going to be a big thing. I've been visualizing since I was like 13 years old when I was a very, very young athlete. And I believe that that's going to help you, number one, to create that idea of what you are seeking to attract. I don't know what sport you play. You didn't tell me, but for sure, definitely get in that mindset of visualizing yourself getting to the finish line, lap after lap after lap, hitting the splits, or, whether you're playing softball or volleyball or basketball or swimming or whatever the sport is, that one specific repetitive thing that you have to do, or just going through the motions of the entire competition day, visualize that. So whenever you get to that, it feels a lot more natural. And I know it sounds like so out there, but there's been a lot of studies done over this, especially how it works with athletes. There have been athletes that, they play basketball, everybody starts shooting, free throws, and then they grab half of the team, half of the group, and then half of the group, half practices and half just visualizes. And whenever they try again, their improvement is nearly the same. So that's one way of making your mind focus on the visualization, and now it's going to look for reasons to make that valid, and you're more likely to perform in a positive way and in a way that you feel successful and happy with. Also, once again, like earlier in the episode, talk about why you are deserving of this goal that you have. Maybe it's to improve your time, or to I don't know what other sports really like. I know what they do, but you know what I mean. My mind always goes to running. Whatever your goal is, think about why you are worthy of this. What have you done to prepare yourself for this? And kind of just get super clear on that. And that's going to ease that anxiety of like, yeah, I am deserving. I remember like jumping on the line and seeing some girls that were just so tall, or I knew that they were really fast, or I'd have like number 20 on my chest, like those numbers that you get, the hip numbers, and they'd have like number 2. And so you know that they're faster because you're 20 and they're 2. And that kind of gets in your head, but it's like, but we're on the same line and we all train the same. So, hey, I could go for it, right? And so do it in the moment. Give yourself a reason for why it can be for you, instead of thinking for reasons why it shouldn't be for you. I hope that helps. I love talking about sports and mindset. So if you want more of that, let me know. Number 7, how do you handle setbacks and bounce back from failures? I am feeling a bit defeated. I love setbacks and failures. They're my best friends, and I'm going to tell you why. Number 1, you are stepping out of your comfort zone. It means that you're doing something about it. Whenever you stay stagnant, when life is just like, great, you are in the most settling position ever. And when you are failing, that quote unquote failing, or when you have setbacks in life, what's happening is that you are putting yourself out there. You're finding out reasons as to like why it's not working or how it's not working. From Hollywood stars, to athletes, to musicians and artists and entrepreneurs. How many times did they try something and they didn't get it on the first try? And that could be you. And so whenever you have those failures, I always think of like when it comes to fear, a lot of times people fear failing and they are just absolutely defeated. But then this also reminds you of how committed am I? How determined am I? How, hungry am I? How much grit do I have in me to make something like this happen? If I'm going to give up right away, I don't know, strengthen my mindset. If I'm going to keep going, then I'm on the right path and I'm going to get there. I always tell you this. If it's in your mind, it's for a reason. So those whispers in your ear that tell you, hey, go for this, and this could be for you and all that, go for it. And I know that sometimes it doesn't make sense, and we want to like come back to our shell right away the moment that something doesn't go according to plan, because their finances in the way, because there's a time issue in the way, because perhaps people are watching, because you quit your job, because you're afraid of rejection, because you're out of your comfort zone. It's okay. Come back to, why did you start this to begin with? Why? Oh, well, I started this to begin with because I really wanted, because I know that my life would be better, because I believe in myself, because it'll be a great idea, because I know that I deserve something like this. Great. Then why would you give up whenever there's a setback and a failure? Sometimes life has a way of rerouting you, of saying, hold on, don't come here. And then other times it has a way of just telling you to keep going. But if it's in your mind, it's for a reason, because I can guarantee you that whatever it is that you're trying, the person next to you didn't think about, and that means that it was for you and not them, and vice versa. So keep going, because it's going to take you somewhere else. And I've lived it so many times, and I know that you will as well. Number 8 is, hey there, hello. I'm curious about your journey in personal development. What inspired you to become a mindset coach and a speaker? I love this question, and I could talk your ear off about it. I started studying personal development when I was 19 years old, and I completely fell in love with it. I realized that my coaches weren't talking about it, my professors weren't talking about it. I was going through a very nice university, and it just wasn't a topic of conversation. And I knew that as I was embarking on it, it was helping me. Although life had a whole different reality right in front of me, I believed in myself. I believed I developed confidence. I had courage. I had leadership. I just had all these things that I really loved. And I've always loved speaking. I've actually started speaking since I was like itty bitty. And I think my first keynote, I was probably like 4. And like, not keynote, like those big poems. Like, I was always the kid who was chosen in class to do like a poem, like every like grade level. And so that combined with personal development, and then also the fact that I was able to pursue and accomplish my goals, my wildest goals that didn't make sense. And I remember being on a podium, and I love this story because I had worked so hard to be on a scholarship, be a championship with a championship team, and be an academic All-America. And I realized like all the things that I had worked for were in sports. And I realized, okay, if I can do it once, I can do it again. And so I continued doing it in other areas of my life because I had already established all the goals. And so I also got really clear and honest with myself about the fact that I wasn't the only person with crazy goals and aspirations. And I had studied this for so long that I wanted to help people. And so after being a teacher for a few years, I continued preparing myself. And then I started working with companies, helping develop curricula and building global e-learning academies in English and in Spanish, helping develop apps for executives and CEOs to improve their wellness. And then that's when I decided in 2020 to jump in and quit my job. And so I did. And it was the best thing that I ever did because now I get to help people. And I've done that through, once again, working with companies. I work with people one-on-one. I have my courses that are up and running on my website. If you go to theclaudiaramirez.com, you can see what I do there. And of course, just showing up for you on social media every single day. And for me, it's something that I'm so passionate about. I wouldn't trade it for the world. And that's how it started. Just belief in myself, knowing that I'm kind of wonky and I'm kind of gutsy, to be honest, and knowing that there were other people who probably felt the way that I felt, but didn't find the way. So if you're somebody who ever feels like stuck and unmotivated and lacking confidence and self-belief, but you still have a glimpse that there could be something on the other side, I do it for you, 1000% for you. So thank you for that question. Number 9, I want to start a new project, but fear is holding me back. Any suggestions on overcoming fear and taking that first step? We talked about it a little bit in a couple of questions ago. But for you, I would just say, try to answer as many questions as you possibly can. I know that when you're starting a new project, you don't know what you don't know many times. So try connecting with people who have done something similar. Trying is like, it doesn't happen. Connect with people who have done something similar to you. Start asking the questions that you don't know. Start figuring out what it is that you need to know and control what you can control. Start somewhere. It's going to look ugly at the beginning. It might look a little wonky. It's like the first time that you make a little paper boat. Have I ever made a paper boat? I don't know. I don't know why that came to my mind. I used to do them actually with my grandfather whenever it rained. I would make paper boats, and mine were always the wonky ones. That's exactly why I thought about that. So, but then as you keep going, it starts getting better, and you kind of have to start molding. It's almost like ceramics. I've never done it, but I see Instagram videos about it where people, at first, it just looks like this blob, and then they start molding it and molding it and molding it, and then it still looks so beautiful, but then they go and shape it into something else, and you're like, oh, they ruined it, but no, they didn't. That's how it is when you work on something else and on something new. I would encourage you to just let go of the fear. Write down what are those things that you are most afraid of, because I know saying let go of the fear is very easy, right? So I'm going to give you something tangible to do. Write down those things that you are afraid of, and then based on that, you can start controlling what you can, start eliminating them, start thinking about, like, if it's finances, all right, talk about that. If it's not knowing where to start, if it's the legal part of it, if it's the idea part of it, if it's the software, if it's the connections, if it's anything, write all these things down, or the belief in yourself, anything, whatever it is, and start addressing that. Where can you start? And then just let everything else fall into place. And believe me, I've done this. Like, I've semi-built my own website. I have my membership with my courses. I have everything I've had to learn about funnels and social media and how to make videos and captions and edit and everything. Like, what I do in my business, an agency does. Like, people charge a lot of money for what I do. And I may not be the expert, like the person to go to for every single one of these, but I've developed enough expertise for my business to be just fine. I'll delegate later. But I share that with you because sometimes you kind of have to wear these different hats and figure it out as you go, and then eventually grow into something else. So start there, definitely, for sure. And that was so definitely for sure. Okay. Number 10, I struggle having positive conversations with someone at work who is always negative. Okay. Well, I've been through these before. Here's the thing. I recommend a book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. A lot of times when people are negative, they probably haven't read these books, and that's fine, but you will. And I highly recommend keeping your cool as much as you can and using words. Words are so, so powerful. Always adding value. Using, I'm not going to say reverse psychology because that could be kind of toxic, but adding value. People want to be heard. People want to be understood. People want to be appreciated. So, for instance, whenever somebody is negative, I remember when I was a teacher and I had to deal with very poor leadership. And where you're like, how did you get to this position? Because I would not even fathom, like, how. And you'd kind of have to use your words. Like, hey, I know that you care a lot about this, or I've always had great conversations with you or interactions with you, and I'm wondering about XYZ. So can you help me, or what would you say? And like, once you flatter someone, once you give somebody a compliment, once you add value to somebody's life, whether you feel like you can share something that they said that was positive, or something that they did, or an ongoing relationship that you have, which probably not the case for you in this case, always like to start off with a compliment and then convey the message. And then what you need, and keep it cool. But people, especially those who are very difficult to have conversations with, they're the ones that whenever you give them a rose, they're the quickest ones to turn around into a positive, because that's what they need. They're hurting inside. And when you give them, that's something that they're craving, that they don't know that they're craving. It makes it better. I remember somebody who was not, like I was saying, like not a good role model or leader. And the next year I found out that she was going through a divorce. And she was the kind of person that I would walk into her office and she would yell at me like I was like a 5-year-old. Not that you should be yelling at 5-year-olds. And it was just so unprofessional. And it was just so frankly humiliating as somebody who was beneath her in the ladder of in the chain of command, if you will. And I learned how to communicate like that. You just basically tell them what they need to hear, something that they need, something that is going to help them feel good about themselves. And they're going to want to work with you, because if they make you feel that way, they're probably making many people feel that way. And many people feel that resistance and they show it right back. And they already know that they're not liked because they're negative or whatever the case is. And whenever you just kind of soften up and treat them as human, they kind of just break in a positive way. And you see them as raw. and you're able to get there better. So that's what I would do. I've had my fair share of bad interactions at work, and not bad interactions, but situations like this that just make you grow as a communicator. So it's a good thing for you in the long run. Number 11. Oh, okay. Hi, Claudia. I'm interested in your mindset coaching. Can you share a bit about your coach approach and what clients can expect? Yes, I have different ways in which I work with people. My courses are the entryway, I would say. Not the entry per se, but like the easiest way for you to learn from me. I have one course called See It, Create It, Create Your 60-Day Mindset Roadmap. I completely mix them up. I have one course called See It, Create It, a vision board to get excited about your future. It's 147. It's a very entry level course where you can finish it probably within a week. If one with all the steps, a week or two, I would say, but 1 week would probably be adequate. And it gets you started on the journey. The second one is Run With It, Your 60-Day Mindset Roadmap. This is a 9-week self-paced mindset coaching course where I've given you over 10 hours of video footage and slides and workbooks and assets and guides and everything that I've created for you to do it on your own at your own pace, essentially. Every week you get a new one, but at the same time, you kind of, if you work and everything, it's essential for you. And I go through all the steps for you to build confidence, feel fulfilled, achieve your goals, your dreams, and everything in between. I love it. Another one is working with me one-on-one. That would be reaching out and we can hop on a call to see if we are compatible. Here's the thing, guys. I do not do a sales call. I'm not going to go on there and be like, hire me, because that for me is like just so icky, especially with personal development. You cannot force someone to want to do personal development. Somebody needs to want that. And so for me, we just have a conversation. What are your goals? I think I could help you. And if I cannot, I will be honest and I'll send you another way that could be better with somebody else or with another product or something like that. And yeah, we'll work together for 4 months every single week, and you'll have me there with you, and we'll do a lot of more personalized and individualized I couldn't say that, personalized and individualized coaching. And then yes, of course, I also work with companies and organizations who need, whether it's workshops for their team, whether it's building academies, courses, and all of those things that are around curriculum development, learning development. I would consider myself very much in the people development and talent development umbrella because of my expertise in various areas. So that is how I work with people, and I find it absolutely very, very fulfilling. I've created a gallery, right, of different ways, whether it's indirect, direct, or more so like with the masses, and also speaking engagements, which I absolutely love. And they're some of my favorite things to do. So a speaking engagement, whether it's at an office or a panel or, just something like that, I love doing. This has probably been our longest episode to date. I hope that it does well, because I don't know how people will receive such a long episode, but we'll see. Let me know if you like this. We could do this regularly. Maybe I could do less questions or more questions. I don't know. I know that I get really detailed into them, but if somebody takes the time to ask me, I want to take the time to answer, because usually whenever I ask a question on one of these polls, I would love for it to be answered. And so it's always valuable when they are. So I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. I will see you in episode 34, where we are going to talk about, hold on, mindset in the workplace. Whether you're starting off, whether you've been in the workplace for a while, I know this is going to be for you, and it's going to be so, so helpful. So I love you. Keep being the optimal leader of your life. I believe in you, and I'll see you in the next one.